today we are watching, no we're not, we are interviewing another fellow content creator, Gareth Withers. He does all the amazing songs for Coventry City, all the fan songs. His channel will be either there or there, one of the corners. So we're going to find out what his inspiration is and just other things about like why he started making all these amazing songs. So again, a massive thank you to him, as obviously he's letting me do this. Peace. Okay, so I'm with Gareth Withers, which is an amazing honour. I love all your music. So I've just got a quick few questions. So like, what did actually inspire you to make music?
Okay, I've done music all my life. My mum got me piano lessons when I was very young. I didn't want to go initially, but then I enjoyed them and I found that actually I like writing my own songs. And I first watched Cov in '87, in March '87, so it's a long time ago now. And then of course they won the cup 2 months later, so I thought this is a breeze. This is easy supporting Coventry City. And then of course I realised actually I like both those things. I like music and I love Cov, so why not put the two together?
You said you do piano, so do you, I believe that you probably use a software to make all your music. So really quickly, what is that software? Yeah,
I like I say, sometimes I'll just sing with the piano or with a ukulele or something, but yeah, I do like to use software. I use Logic Pro X Music in my studio, and we're lucky because a few years ago we decided to change our garage into an actual studio, which is lovely. So it's separate from the house, so at least I've got that little bit of space on my own where I can get away from the kids and the racket and enjoy writing songs there. So yeah, I use Logic Pro and I record all my music on that, and then obviously attach it to the videos.
How do you make, like, I've noticed that you remix a lot of songs, but how do you like pick out the songs? Just find another song.
That's a really good question. My first song I did this season was Torn by Natalie Imbruglia, and it just came for no reason whatsoever. I just thought I'd go for that. And then every now and then I come up with songs beforehand. So sometimes I'll link it to a specific person, knowing that they may well retweet it. Okay, so for example, I knew we had Fulham coming up, and I knew Richard Osman was a big Fulham fan, and his brother plays in Suede. And so I thought I'll do a Suede song, and of course it worked really well because obviously he really liked it and retweeted it. And so sometimes I will pick it on the team. So for example, Birmingham, Slade are in Birmingham, so I might use a Slade song. It depends sometimes where they're from, so I might think about obviously where the club comes from and use one of their local artists. But sometimes it is random.
Yeah. On average, how long did it actually take you to make a song?
That's a really good question. On average, normally I can write it pretty much as the game's going, so I'll do a bit beforehand. So obviously if I know obviously the team we're playing, I'll look at the history of the club, and because I've been a fan for so long I know lots of random facts, so I might do a little bit of planning beforehand, but often I'll be writing it as the game's going, coming up with ideas, and then I'll get the singing done as quick as I can, and then I can put the visual stuff on after. I've had a few scares this season. The Blackburn at home, I had no idea what I was doing, so it was after the game, and in a way it worked out well because we scored in the 99th minute, so I thought, oh, I'll do 99 problems.
If you're having cramp problems, I feel bad for your son. You gave us 99 minutes and you came undone. They got Bradley Dack, Scott Borden goals to take away the hold we had on our foes. The critics may say that we lack composure up front and our defense is prone to exposure. Hey, we used to having holes in our defensive roles, but as long as we're still ticking like we're in control, I will take the rough with the comfortable. If you don't like frantic, go and watch the bowl.
Because it kicked off with Blackburn, they weren't happy, but it was one that was most successful, and that was random because that was literally written in minutes. I just came up with it really quick.
How do you actually write a song? How do you write your songs, if you don't mind like going in depth with that?
The best thing I think with the way the parody works is to make it almost as close to the original as possible. So actually a lot of it's done because you've got the artist's lyrics, you know the melody. Make it as similar to the original because then it makes it funnier when all of a sudden the word changes. So like, for example, when I did one of the first ones, we shouldn't start the Costa, obviously that original lyric is we didn't start the fire. So you make it as close to the original as you can, and then it makes it funnier. Some of the songs I've written myself, so some of them aren't parodies, they're just songs I've come up with. So the Blackburn away game was just one I wrote just off my own back, yeah. So because sometimes it just feels like it's nice to write my own thing. But no, I enjoy just creating words. I'm a big fan of a guy called Lin-Manuel Miranda, who does lots of really incredible stuff in theatre and on film, and he's brilliant at lyrics. And Tim Minchin,
Hamilton as well.
Hamilton,
yeah.
And Tim Minchin as well is another guy who's really good at writing lyrics and writing quick lyrics. And so I kind of take inspiration from them and try and put it into my songs if I can.
You said about Don't Start Di Costa.
Yeah.
Any feedback from Di Costa for that?
No. Interestingly, it was funny because I was speaking to one of the chairmen at the awards, and that was the one that initially, I mean, it was only the second song, but that was the one that initially got them excited, and apparently Dave Boddy loved it, and that's when they thought, oh, this is awesome, because I suppose they probably didn't say that to Di Costa, but I think it was something that made people laugh, and they registered it, they understood where they were coming from. And it's like at the end I used Tud Guy on the last one, and they said actually Tud Guy would have found it funny. He would have found it funny, and so you've got to be careful. You don't want to kind of make it so that you're offending people too much. But sometimes, as well as fans, that's what it's like, isn't it? When you're watching a game, you get frustrated sometimes, and it's just through the song showing that.
You've kind of already answered this question, but when you were younger and you said that you found out that you really love music, did you have like a certain artist that you kind of looked up to and was like, I really like that music and I kind of want to do that?
That's a good question. I think the key thing from my point of view is I like all sorts, and that's where it works. I think if I just had a kind of music genre that I followed at only one, then it would make it difficult. But because I like all sorts, obviously, you know, I'm a big fan of the likes of Coldplay, but I'm a big fan of U2, but I'm also a big fan of classical, and also I love musical theatre, so there's a good mix, and that helps when you're writing parodies, because you've got lots of things to choose from.
Just for the younger viewers, can you explain the parody?
The parody?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, because I wrote a parody back in 2010, my first one.
You've seen that every day.
And it's... it's taking a song that already exists, and it's making it your own. It's trying to make it as close to the original, but also bringing something fun in about a certain subject. And of course, it has become quite popular recently. A lot of people, certainly during COVID, did parodies about COVID, but taken from artists. Obviously, you've got to watch with copyright, so you need to make sure you mention those artists, but, you know, pretty much everyone knows the songs I'm doing anyway. Yeah. They're fairly obvious ones and fairly clear ones, and generally that's been absolutely fine.
What is your favourite song that you've made?
That's a brilliant question. I've really enjoyed this last one, the review. I love the season review. The tricky thing with the season review was it was the first time I've been asked to do it. Obviously all of the others I've just made, and I've just enjoyed making them, but that was Coventry City phoning me and saying, we'd like you to make one, and that suddenly put the pressure, because you felt writer's block, because you thought, what do I do with this?
It was brilliant.
My personal favourite, it's funny, my personal favourite is probably something like Swansea at Home. I really, really enjoyed doing that, and I was gutted because I put loads of effort into it. I put a load of effort into the prep of it. I really liked the words and the lyrics and the way it worked. I did Bonnie Tyler because she's from Wales, and then of course we lost. And you just know the moment you lose, you're not going to get as many clicks, as many views, but it still remains one of my favourites. And also Millwall Away, when I did a bit of Tommy Steele. That was
that's my favourite.
My
mum loved Tommy Steele. When it came on, me and Sienna was singing it like crazy.
Half a sixpence, can't beat it.
How did you actually get involved in awards night, properly?
Well, it was amazing. I literally 10 days before the awards night, I got a call from Tynan at Coventry City, and he said, right, I've got a proposition for you. We'd like to invite you because we think the work you've done is really good. The players have really enjoyed it, and of course I didn't know that. You don't know from when you're standing away if they're enjoying it or not. And they said, we'd like to invite you anyway, but also we'd like you to create something for them to see on the awards night. Now, initially, apparently Dave Boddy wanted me to perform live, but they quite rightfully said, no, that's unfair on him, because that would be really stressful, and he just wants to enjoy the night. So get him to do something pre that we can show. So that's when, I was invited and then had to show a brand new video.
There once was a ship sailed anxiously. The name of the ship was CCFC. Once ran aground at Northampton town with a line of inadequate gaffers. But hooray, the better man comes. Signed Dom Hyam and Duckners on. From day one the folly was fun, and we shipped off Marcus Tudgate. I see a worldie painted on thickly. No sweat, just ask Jordan Shipley. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Today the FA Cup comes. Take 5,000 fans along to the South Coast. For Premier League fun, we'll take the piss and go. As there remains the one who can bring the bacon home. Life is a Fankerty. Alan Simon Moore, Kyle Rose, Martin Waghorn, Todd Kane, and Ben Sheaf, Ty Jones. He's unplayable, with his Mbappe untradeable. Till it's almost too late to hold back the left eye. The Gaffer's album's coming out in May. But don't look back in anger. The season's been a banger. Let's raise a glass and thank the SBA.
I keep this one. Who's been your favourite player this season?
Personally, I think Hamer, because for me, Hamer makes everything tick from where he is. I love his positivity. We've been there. We've seen players who go sideways and go backwards. He never ever thinks that. He's constantly thinking forwards, and at times it won't work. At times he'll play a ball and it's too much. But if he's making things tick forward, it keeps us going, it keeps us working. His away performance at Blackpool right at the start of the season, with Gyökeres of course, was incredible. He just made everything flow. So personally, I love Hamer. Obviously, I love Victor, because I think Victor's just a beast to play against. He's one of the toughest strikers I've ever seen.
Ashley's one of his biggest crickets because he's missed so many chances.
Yeah, oh, he has. He's missed a lot of chances. And actually, if you look at some of those chances he's missed, like Cardiff away, that header should have been in. That we probably would have gone on to draw or win that game, And so those tiny margins are really, really important.
Yeah, it can be really annoying. Obviously,
it is frustrating.
With strikers, but also when he's in good form, you can tell when he's in good form because he just destroys defences. Like, you said it in your song, he will run after defences and just break them.
Yeah, he will, and he did. That's what.
He's done it.
When I first noticed that was that Blackpool game, because I didn't really know him, because obviously it was COVID. We'd seen him on telly, but that game, he literally had about 3 or 4 players that couldn't get near him. Keogh had an absolute, mare of a night and you thought, oh, okay, so this is the kind of player we've got. And of course O'Hare, because O'Hare he kind of sums up Coventry City at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So that's why you wouldn't want to lose him, because he is the kind of the pin-up boy, but it is everything about Coventry's resurgence, isn't it?
Are you worried about losing a few of our top players like Callum O'Hare, Ben Sheaf, or Gustavo Hamer?
Yeah, for the reasons I've just pointed out, and I'm glad you mentioned Sheaf. My friend's a big Arsenal fan, and when we first got him on loan, he says, "You've got a gem." Now, I had that information. I kind of knew that there was something there, but I think because people thought he was slow, but actually he wasn't slow. It's just he's composed on the ball, and I would fear losing some of them, because obviously the way they play, they're very difficult to replace, aren't they?
Yeah.
But players like Sheaf, players like Gyökeres, and certainly Hamer, really difficult players to replace. But we trust in Robbins, and he's had to replace people before. I think we were all gutted when Liam Walsh went a few seasons ago. I would have loved to have got him back, but we replaced him. So it can be done, but again, that's Robbins' job, isn't it?
we said that on the way up here, didn't we? With Morosi for Lee Burge, Ben Wilson for O'Brien.
Yeah.
O'Hare for Walsh, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're right. So it can be done. It is tricky. Hyam's a good shout as well, though, isn't he? Because actually, I said to him at awards night, actually, I think it's down to you, Dom, because since he's come, we've only gone one way, that's up. So he's been a revelation as well.
Who has been your player of the year?
Player of the year, that's a really good one. The wonderful thing is there's lots of choice, isn't there? Even going back to Moore.
Yeah.
You know, Moore has been outstanding in goal. We've had outstanding players throughout. I love Maatsen, you know, and we know he's going to go on to possibly Dortmund or somewhere, and deservedly so, because he's a special player as well. Player of the season, it's hard, isn't it? Because all of them, you know, O'Hare you'd say, but then sometimes he's the wrong ball and perhaps should score more goals. Gyökeres should have scored more goals, possibly. Probably Hamer for me.
The reason O'Hare weren't scoring goals for is Ashley said to him in one of the first videos, don't score till January, we don't sell him. And then he sort of got in the habit of not scoring, so after January he's like, I won't score still.
But I mean, it's also like,
Yeah,
you can't really be hard on him because he's a midfielder, and you can tell
he runs his socks off, doesn't he?
It's his
really
work rate is
well.
incredible.
Yeah.
His work rate is unbelievable, and the fact that, you know, it's that Bristol City game at home when Godden scored in the last minute. He's still working the same at the end of the game as right at the start, and how he's got the energy, I have no idea.
Is that one? That's when they got 2, weren't it? And he could have got a hat trick.
Yeah.
Godden.
Yeah, that's true. But he's been a revelation. I think the only thing is sometimes you'd say with any kind of midfielder that they need to score the goals. You look at someone, I know he's a lot higher above, but Lampard. If ever Lampard was striding forward, his first thought was, I'm going to hit, I'm going to hit, I'm going to hit. If I'm 25, 30 yards, whereas you can sometimes see ours are like, where do I knock it to? Who do I knock it to? And that's why Lampard was so good, because he would just hit it, and he wouldn't think twice. You know, if he saw the opportunity, he'd take it. And I think that's something that will come.
Back to like music, and you said about Matty Godden scoring. I was listening to the end of season review because that's my favourite song. How did you come up with the 24 with a raw lyric? I don't know how did you actually come up with that?
Again, it comes back to who I was mentioning earlier, Lin-Manuel. He's so good at rhymes. He's so good at the patter of words. That's the important thing, getting the rhythm of words to fit with the rhyme of words. So what I'll be forever on something called Rhyme Zone. So you'll get a word, you think, right, let's find how many words rhyme with that, which will fit right. I love to try and think of as many different ways of rhyming words. It's weird. It's some kind of thing I've got in my head. I don't know where it's come from, but I try and use it as much as I can.
I've just a few more questions. What's your favourite part about making all your music?
Just creativity. I've always been someone who's really likes to be creative. I've got that from my mum and dad really, because they were quite creative individuals, and it's a way of expressing things, isn't it? We all need ways of expressing how we feel and what we enjoy, and that's my way of doing it. And it's lovely because you do the same with your brilliant videos, and a lot of people are doing that now, and that's such a wonderful way of being able to express what we feel. You know, in our day it would have been down the pub talking about the football, but now it's great because obviously we can still do that, but we can also do it on social media, which is fantastic.
I should have actually asked you this before, but do you make all your music by yourself, or do you have, I don't actually know what it's called, but
collaborations,
an engineer, like where they put all the lyrics together?
No, I do it all myself, so it's been a bit of a crazy year because I can't call on anyone else to help me. So and that's where, like, Kel, my wife, will be forever like, oh, best of luck with this one. So she'll see me disappear into the studio, and yeah, I am on my own, a one-man band, so it is a little bit scary at times, but it's funny because I kind of know what I like to do, and I suppose that makes it easier in a way. Sometimes when you've got other people giving ideas, it does make it harder because you can kind of clash. I don't have that unless I clash with myself, but which sometimes I could, I suppose.
How old were you when you first started making music?
I reckon when I was a really young child. My mum heard me when they were playing music in the car, singing harmonies. So a harmony is when you sing a slightly different tune to the melody. So she realised there was something odd there. I wasn't singing the normal part. And then she'd hear me just making up songs. So I did a song about my cat called We Love Sammy. And I wrote a stupid song called Easy Up Down Ladder. I should have. And me and my brother had like band names. I can't remember what it was now. But so since I was a kid, I did it. It was something I always did, and it was only then, like I said, in 2010 and then 2013, I started writing a parody about Coventry City in general. But it was only this season I decided to do one for each game.
For an exclusive, are we doing it next season?
I've been asked so many times, because the thing is, as you know, and you know yourself actually, that once you've got an audience who are interested in it, you don't want to stop doing that.
It's really hard to stop.
And you wouldn't want to, because if I started following an artist and then they suddenly stopped altogether, I'd be like, oh, what's the point, you know? So obviously part of me wants to. It's just me depending now whether I do every game again or whether I do a kind of review over a certain amount of time.
No, it's not every game.
I definitely want to keep doing it, as long as it doesn't, you know, take over my life. But yeah, I've found it okay this year. I've been able to write them quite quickly.
Again, like you say that you can write them really quick, but how do you? You said also you were writing them during like a game, kind of. But where do you get that like inspiration from? If you obviously I think you've said it to me before. You think of like a certain player that you want to do it on sometimes.
Yeah.
But then, if you do that, don't you like? Do you spend a lot of time during the game like analysing their game, kind of real time analysing?
The easier version for me is when we're watching an away game, for example, and I'm not there, because I can be at home doing it, I can be watching it, but also planning it at the same time. So the hard ones is when you're at the game, of course, because yeah, you're right. You don't want to be sitting there thinking, what am I going to write about this player and that player? So no, as much as I can, I've tried to switch off and enjoy the game, certainly when I'm there. As much as I can, and just enjoy it, and then as I'm going away I'll then be on my phone, and you know, my family will realise, oh, here he goes, he's off writing. So every now and then, if something's happened on the pitch, I've tried to preempt before games sometimes what might happen, and that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Like betting, isn't it? You just never know. You haven't got an idea what's really going to happen. So when I did Super Callum Goes Ballistic,
We signed him from the Claret Blues when he was just a lad. He danced around League One defences, though they were quite bad. He smashed his way through Ipswich Town and now he's stow his head. In every game he covers every play with infrared. If Super Callum goes ballistic, Barnsley are atrocious. He'll cause the tykes to stink just like a human halitosis. He's like Georgie Kincladley with an added self-hypnosis. Super Callum passes ties like water does for Moses. Sheep in the middle and Kane on the right, Allen in the middle and Matt's on the side. Stuck in the middle of the league cause Marcus shot at with.
I kind of had that in my head. I kind of regretted in a way that I could have used that later for another game where he did absolutely torment the defence. But yeah, it's one of those. I try not to let it take over because I want to be a Cov fan and enjoy the game as much as I can, and then I'll think about it after.
Just like a few more questions. But when obviously you whenever you put clips on, how do you find them clips?
Some of the clips I initially, when I was watching it, I was kind of doing it on my phone and making sure I'd got it on my phone. So because personally, I think it's nice to have a visual effect, isn't it, of what you're singing about. You could just do the songs with no visuals, but I think the visual and audio is where it works.
It makes a story.
Exactly, makes the story real. Now, obviously, initially you've got to watch, because sometimes you might get the EFL say, no, you can't use that certain thing. But generally, because they know it's not monetized, you're not making money off it, it's okay to use it. So yeah, what often happens is they're quite quick at getting them games on now, online quickly, so I can use certain software that will enable me to get that and put it onto my own videos, which is quite good.
Do you ever I don't know how to explain it properly, but do you ever, when you make your songs, do you ever think do you ever look back at them and then think that should be changed and then completely change the song?
Yeah, that's one thing that I think if I hadn't written 50, I probably would do. But because it was ridiculous, because I was writing a song and then literally within 24 hours having to think of the next one, you didn't even have time to go back. I'm sure if I sat back now and thought, okay, I'll look through them, yeah, there'd be things I'd want to change and want to do different. But I found it sometimes, you know what, it was like you had 3 games a week sometimes, didn't you? So it was crazy because you got in your head, and of course sometimes I was on holiday doing it. Yes. So I'm by the sea singing to the camera. In fact, we went away with the family and friends, and I said I'm going to just nip off now and do some recording. And of course, what did they do? They followed me, didn't they? Because they wanted to see me on the beach singing the Time Warp. But no, I'm just enjoyed doing it wherever I've been, and it's just been a great fun season. And I've kind of perhaps locked the songs away.
I mean, it takes a lot of time, doesn't it, to edit? I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, going to camera, and then you have to go back home, you have to put
Yeah.
all the software. And I mean, when you have 3 games a week, I mean, we've found out that sometimes you, oh no, I know, we've run out of time, then next one.
It does, and the worst thing is the audience only see what's there.
Yeah.
They don't see all of that, do they? They don't see all
don't
of the
see
prep
the
you have to
5,
put
6
in.
hours
Yeah.
The cutting and editing, and then when you think something doesn't work, and of course as well, because I've got to do the matching up with the vocals, so if I'm recording I'll then have to match the audio up with my recording. It just drags it out a little bit.
Has there been a song you thought I'm going to really use, and then you laid it down and you thought I can't use it? It's not.
There has, and that's going to annoy me now, because I think that's happened a couple of times. In fact, I have got a couple of songs written that I completely changed. So they're on my Logic at home on my Mac. So I'll have to fish them out, because different versions of the song that I then, like you said, last minute swapped and changed into something else. In fact, there's a very good chance Blackburn was one of those, because like I said, I think I was struggling with what to do with it, and then 99 happened, so I changed it. So there's a few exclusives there. I might have to try and find out. I can give you.
With the end of season review, did you plan on making it? Because I've noticed it's it's a lot longer of a song.
Yeah.
Obviously, well, it is reviewing an entire season, but still. And also, you've used like 3 different songs in one. Did you have a plan on kind of putting them in separate songs, or did you just like put them all together?
This is a really good question, because as soon as they said you're doing this, like I said, I've got writer's block straight away. I thought, what am I going to do here? What I wanted was a song that told a story. So it needed to be a song that started like Once Upon a Time. Yeah. So initially I was going to go. Your obvious one was something like Sweet Caroline for the whole thing, because that's been a massive song this year. I was going to do something like Brown Eyed Girl or American Pie, because they're songs that have a structure to them, or Bohemian Rhapsody, but I'd already used that, where you've got a lot of song to use. And I was just sat there. And I don't know why the Wellerman came to my head, but I suddenly thought, oh yeah, this tells a story from the start. You've got a beat that everyone can clap along to. So I thought initially, which they did. So I thought, you've got a beat and it tells a story. There once was a. So you've got straight away the start of a story. And I thought, okay, I'll start with the Wellerman, but I don't want to do the whole of that because it would get too samey. So that's when I had the idea of, okay, let's just pick a few that would work. And then I thought, I just got Life is a Fankety in my head. So I thought I'll start with Life is a Fankety for the next bit, and luckily that obviously got a good ovation, and then of course ending with Sweet Caroline, and a bit of Oasis, because I knew obviously a lot of the players are fans.
I've got to find out questions.
What was the feedback from the players with the awards thing? Had they seen it before the awards night? Was it?
No, the only I got a message the day before to say MR had seen it. I was like, and he loves it. I was like, thank God for that. So the manager had seen it, and obviously Dave Boddy had, but the players hadn't. It was completely new to them. So you sat there thinking, this could go one of two ways. But no, they were really good response, and obviously I spoke to them afterwards when you could go and just have a photo and say hi, and they were generally really lovely, and people you didn't expect, like Todd Kane was so down to earth and so lovely about it. Simon Moore really enjoyed it. Ben Wilson, I can imagine, because he's the character, isn't he? So I think he really enjoyed them, and he said, oh, thanks for the videos, and a few of them were talking about next season, and I was like, okay, we'll see.
Got to do it. Okay.
How do you think the season's actually went this season?
You know what? The one thing to me, we were back in the stadium, the one thing to me that Robbins has done, which is just incredible, he's brought the city back to the club, and that's all that mattered. You know, I wouldn't have mattered where we finished. The key thing is that when you go around Coventry now, and you do it, which is brilliant, you see kids wearing cough tops. Not Chelsea, not Man U, not Liverpool. And he's brought Coventry back where it should be. And that, to me, to get those fans flooding in, and has been everything. The football is just an added bonus. What a treat. The pace we play at, you know, and we've seen some awful football, you know. In fact, just before Robbins came, one of the lowest times when we were in bottom of League One. It was terrible, you know. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know how to move the ball. So I'm happy with how we're playing. Yes, we should have finished higher, without doubt. If we'd have taken our chances, we would have been top 6, no doubt. But the fact is, I'm really happy to be in the Championship. I think it's a league where anyone can beat anyone, you know. Whereas if we went to the Premiership almost too early, you're going to find it really hard, and that would be a shame to lose that incredible football that we've got. So I'm happy to be where we are. I think the season's been a success. Yeah.
I mean, being from '87, when like you said, we won the cup and that lot, the players and the fans seem to be together.
Yeah.
And then I know over the last 13 years that got lost, but Robin seems to have really gelled us again, hasn't he? I mean, everyone's been fantastic with me and Ash and that lot, but we all seem as one now, don't we? It's not that separate where they don't talk to you, they don't want to engage with you.
There's something about him, isn't there? There's something about certain managers that are able to do that, and I think that's almost what they do when they come in. They know, right. You know, yes, tactics, we have to sort that, but first of all, we have to make sure that the whole team works as a unit, and that's everyone. And Pep does that, to be fair. I know he's manager of a big club, but he gets it working from the ground up, and everyone singing from the same hymn sheet. We bring any player, and you'll notice they get Robin's ball, they get how to play it. And the youngsters do. You know, the under-23s played the same way.
We're winning this development league, didn't they? Which is really good.
It's a treat to watch, and the good thing is, Ashley, the trajectory is only going one way, and you could say, of course, it was after what we've been through. You know, we were only going one way, the other way. But he's setting us on the right motion, and he'll have no idea of going anywhere else because he knows that this is working and we're going in the right way. So happy days. Hopefully we'll keep going, and I'll be able to keep writing songs and it'll be positive.
That's the exclusive. Going to keep writing songs.
Thank you.
But thank you, and also can I just say well done to you guys, because what you're doing is providing people with that information about Coventry, but you're doing it from a fan's point of view, and that's really important. So they get to see how Coventry, how the life of a fan is, and that's important to the players and the manager. They want to see what it's like from our perspective, because they've known we've been through bad times, and to see this kind of thing happening is again showing that we're on the rise and we're where we should be, and we're in the right place for that, of course.
Yes, we're in the old cathedral. So
rising from the players, which is good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And we will link your channel to this video. Whereabouts, Ash?
Either there.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Okay, we just finished interviewing Gareth. I loved it. I want to say a massive thank you to him because he's just amazing. He's an amazing person to be around. It was a great interview. I want you to definitely know that his channel's there or down below probably as well. Like this video, subscribe to me, but also make sure you just like and subscribe to a few of his videos. Make sure you subscribe to him. If you love music and if you like Coventry City, it's just the two worlds colliding, and it's amazing. All his music is just amazing. I hope you will subscribe to him. So I want to say a massive thank you to him again, and I'll see you next time I do a video. Peace.